Conflicts are very important to understand because conflicts are a part of our natural human existence. We, as human beings, we live in a life of conflict. We don't understand how or we don't understand why, but it's mainly to do with self. Conflicts can affect our emotions, our physical and mental being. Conflicts also are disagreements and arguments with one another. Our conflicts can also lead to different types of disputes and challenges and battles and wars. The reason why conflicts are so important to understand is because conflicts are very destructive. However you look at a conflict is very, very destructive, and we must look at conflicts to understand exactly what it does. Conflicts, we deal with lots of different experiences of conflict. We have hurts, pain, loss, sorrow, suffering, trauma, emptiness, loneliness, fears, sadness, hardship, struggle, wars, battles, corruption, deception, anger, envy, lust, ignorance. So you see, in conflicts, we have different types of experiences. All of these experiences do make us very, very vulnerable. And it does make us do things that we don't want to do. It makes us feel certain ways. It makes us act in ways that we wouldn't normally act. Conflicts are the reason why we experience a lot of hardship and pain in our life, because we just don't understand how it's affecting us in our day-to-day life. When you look at conflicts and you start to begin to understand, it's all based on one thing. Self. Self is a real big issue when it comes to conflict. Most of our conflicts are based on self. We afflict ourselves with the conflicts. We make ourselves so wrapped up in our own conflicts that we can't look past it because of our thoughts, because of the way we think. We don't actually want to do this, but because of the way we think as human beings, the conflicts become overwhelming. When we experience a conflict, it gets wrapped up in our minds and it stays there and it keeps us at bay and it keeps us thinking, how can we get past this conflict and the pain of the conflict, the memories of the conflict? It stays with the self. So if we can find a way to understand that there is a way to heal from conflicts, we just have to understand how it affects us every time we do go through these conflicts. We may understand a bit better just the solution of finding a way to deal with our conflicts once and for all. Understanding conflicts. Now, to understand it, we must look at the movement. So, for example, when you think about hurt, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel upset, down, angry. You feel like something's really getting to you. You feel very distraughted, very hopeless, very sad. So that's the movement of hurt. But when you see how it affects your life day to day, how it really affects your living, every time someone hurts you, you go back to those past memories of how it felt to be hurt. Every time someone hits you and you feel hurt. Every time someone abuses you and you feel hurt in any shape, way or form. Anytime someone actually hurts you, not meaning to hurt you by accident, it brings you back to these memories that stay in your mind. This is why hurt becomes a very moving, destructive force, because as soon as you experience hurt for the first time, you feel it again and again and again and again in different ways. And that first time hasn't even been healed. So the more times you feel hurt, the more it affects your life, and the more it carries on in your present life and in your future life. This is why when you look at the movement in the long term, it's very destructive. By looking at the movement of hurt, you can understand what it does and you can stop it. but you have to look at it from the beginning of when you first felt that hurt. When you first felt the hurt, then you can look at the pattern and see exactly how it affects your life. And when you see how it affects your life and you analyze it, you find it, you look at it, you see it, and then you act upon it. This is how it changes from hurting to no more hurt, because you're actually doing something about it to change it. This is what we have to do to heal ourselves from conflicts. We have to look at the conflicts in ourselves, find out where it came from, start to see the pattern of it. And then when you see the pattern, you'll see what it's done in your life. And that's what will stop it from happening again, because you're completely aware of what it does. You're completely aware of the nature of it. This is how we're going to heal ourselves from conflicts in life, by understanding how it looks like, by looking at it, by taking each little part of the actual conflict and breaking it down until there's no more or nothing else to see. This is what we need to do as human beings to heal ourselves from conflict. No conflict means no conflict. It means no more feeling pain, hurt, loss, sorrow, suffering. It means living a life that's without the conflicts. And when you live like this, you become much more healthier, much more happier person. You feel free from conflict. You feel like your life is in a completely different way. But in order to get to this point, you must go through the process of discovering how to heal from conflict. And to heal from conflict basically just means you have to look at it, analyze it, find out how the conflicts has affected your life, see it, and then act upon it. The action is the wisdom. The knowledge is finding, analyzing, seeing, and looking at it. The action is the wisdom. The action is when you've actually looked at the conflicts all together, and then you finally act upon it. You say, you know what? I want to stop living in conflict. I don't want to feel like this no more. I want to live a better life. I want to live a happier life. So that's basically the whole presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. From Christopher Leon Rose.